And we are live. Fanboy Modeling School. and welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD. I'm, of course, here with my partner in crime,
Steve. Real name, no gimmicks.
They don't know who I'm pointing to, obviously. This is what's going on here. And my man, Shaolin, wherever you are around me.
Oh, to your left, I do believe. There you go.
How are you, brother? Welcome in.
I'm well, man. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School. It has been forever since we have actually had you on the show, so thank you for humoring us, I think is the best way to phrase that, right?
Yo, man, it's always a pleasure, man. You know, always good to have a trifecta.
Right. And so I can talk to you about anything in the world. My favorite things to talk to you about are martial arts and hoes. But neither of those are going to be the topic of tonight. It's our third favorite thing to talk about. Comic books, nerddom, Marvel Comics, all of it.
And that caused a biological reaction. No more.
Absolutely. Rico, welcome in. Wu-Tang Power, indeed.
Happy remainder of Black History Month to the both of you. I hope you've been celebrating in excellence this amazing month. I have stepped out multiple times and smacked many an Angloid and said, hey, you know why this is happening.
I do know. And yeah, happy Black History Month to you too, my friend. I haven't quite done that, but but I've come really close to telling some white people at my church about themselves.
Listen, my hot take this month has been Beyonce deserved it.
Oh, you really trying to make her mad, huh?
Beyonce deserved it.
You ain't playing, baby.
I just walk into rooms, restaurants, and I stand there and I'm like, she deserved it.
Look here. Yo, if Vanilla Ice, I don't care how long ago it was, that fraud can win awards. I'm sorry. I'm happy with her taking a country award, and I'm sticking to that, baby. Always, man. They invade our shit all the time. We got one back. So.
You know what it is? You know what? Yeah, here's all I'm saying. I think the biggest insult of it all was that it was Beyonce. Because if it came from a country music star, that would have been like normal business.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're gonna take an R&B star and have her take your award.
That's a good perspective, because I do like Shabuzi, Yeah,
like, Shabuzi. Everyone would have been happy if Shabuzi won.
Right.
But
I'm gonna call cap on that.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I think there are certain pockets that are socially acceptable of Shabuzi. The same way you're acceptable of that squirrel that fell out the tree, and you're like, oh, I guess I should take care of this thing. I don't know if he would have gone up. Let me just put it this way. Yes, sane country fans would have been like, you know what? Good for Shabuzi. We put up with Hootie, we can put up with Shabuzi. I mean, we accept Hootie, we can accept Shabuzi. But somewhere there's some country fan in a certain town that won't be mentioned. And that's going to be like,
right. He does not play the Tipsy song at his bar.
Yeah.
No, I feel that.
At any rate, man. Captain America, greatest conspiracy ever told. Black people are revolting against the narrative, gentlemen. I don't know if you're following this on Black X and Black Instagram. My honorable mention is that Black people are rejecting the narrative that this is not a good movie. Certain Black people.
Yeah, certain's are, because I've seen some Black cats like trashing it.
Who was it? Was it Young Ripper?
It could have been. Yeah, no, I do. I think he's on the list. But well, before we talk about the conspiracy theory of it, we're talking, of course, about Captain America 4 here on the Fanboy Modeling School, here on RizRadio.com. And we are here with our special guest, Shaolin Iceboxer, Captain America 4, Brave New World. Let's talk about first what we thought of it.
In retrospect, man, I walked out the theater. I gave it a 7. By the time I got home, I bumped it up to an 8 because it kind of settled in. The fight scenes were kind of like congealing in my head. I was a little bit more excited about going to see it with my son. So I put it at an 8. And the reason I put it at an 8 was I went in there with no expectations of the movie being good at all, and I walked out pleasantly surprised. I was happy with the way Red Hulk was animated. I loved that chase scene. There was enough subterfuge. They could have leaned into that a lot more, man, and they definitely could have given me more, spy shenanigans and stuff like that. I still don't enjoy the handy-capable Black Widow character, if that's what she is. There's something about that woman that just didn't fit into the movie.
The midget one. And you know what's funny? You're not the only one who said that, because you said that in the middle of our screening. When I came home and I got on Twitter, other people were calling that chick a midget.
She's too tiny. She's so tiny. It's so hard to believe that she could,
do any of that stuff.
Yeah, because she was not knocking 6'1", bodybuilders out, right? And so that was a bit much.
There's that, and like it didn't really seem like her character was necessary at all. Like she didn't really play a pivotal part. Like she's supposed to be a cleaner, a hired hand for one of the shadiest presidents to ever exist in the Marvel universe. And all I got from her was like she has about as much access to him as the kid that brings coffee. Like she's that useful.
Because as you know, there's a lot of different conspiracy theories about the 3 different reshoots they did for the movie. And so the first reshoot is believed to be it's an Israeli conspiracy, right? So she's supposed to be the Israeli super soldier Sabra. And they were going to give her full costume, and they gave her action sequences and more depth to her character. What? And after everything that happened with Israel and Palestine and the protests, they were like, get her out of this movie.
Damn. Okay.
And what I understand is so here's the thing. You know how they brought in Giancarlo Esposito later on? Like he was later on shoots. Originally, it was supposed to be her trying to take down Falcon. And there was supposed to be an action sequence in the streets with them. And then they replaced it with Giancarlo Esposito.
Thought he was great in the movie.
He was great.
He's great everywhere he goes.
He's great in everything.
He's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT.
But once again, that's obviously hearsay. Who really knows what really went down? I kind of do wish we could get some sort of director's cuts.
Yeah.
Or not, if not 1, 2. I want to see the different versions of this movie.
Hollywood doesn't do that anymore. Go ahead, Shaolin.
A couple of things. First off, didn't this movie, I think out of the gate, it performed better than expected, right? Is that the case? Okay. So that says a lot to me. But quality-wise, I think I'm right there with you, Steve. I give it around an 8. I think people are shitting on this movie far too much. And it has flaws, of course. It has its issues, but overall, I think it's the prototypical Marvel experience. You know what I mean? I think it's right there on the line of the prototypical Marvel experience, not below it, not really above it. Sam, hands for everybody, Wilson. He showed off in the movie. I don't know how he's not a super soldier, because he was doing some insane shit in this movie. Surfing on missiles. He's doing surfing on missiles. He was clearing rooms for dudes with assault rifles. It was crazy, man. It was nuts, the stuff he was doing in this movie.
And I'm going to be quoting a couple of people on this one, but one of the things that I believe it was Jeremy Johns who said, what does Falcon think he's better than everyone? Bucky has the soldier serum. Steve did. Just take it and shut up. It's just no shame in needing superpowers. And so it's funny, they basically made him a super soldier, but like without the chemical, right?
He has it in the comic books, like he took it in the comic books as Captain America. So I don't understand why they're so adverse to him having it in the movies.
It does make, there are a couple of things that he did that were like obviously on like hard to swallow because as a human.
So oh god,
but I'll tell you this. So I had the reverse effect, guys. Of course, I have to be the hater, Okay. So I gave it a 7 coming out, and then I came home, and somebody who was a genius, a mad genius, kind of ruined it for me.
Oh,
who's that?
And so that is Bo DeMayo, the head writer of X-Men 97.
Yeah.
He tweeted in the thing that he said a tweak he would have done. Now, I honestly think this guy is a genius writer. I think he must be a genius writer.
Yeah.
Because he said something that was so dope. I was like, that would have made that movie way better. And so what he said, he pointed out that fights are better when they're emotional. And Sam had no emotional connection to any of these guys. He's never even had 2 words with the president before, right? In the other movies. What he said should have happened is Red Skull should have returned to Earth and been so disgusted that there's a black Captain America that he creates a plan to both destroy the president and Sam. And he's like, he should have been behind it all. And I was like, that's genius.
Let me tell you why.
That man is cooking right now.
That is amazing, but let me tell you why it wouldn't have worked. And the response would have been worse than what we're getting right now. So let me just mirror that back to you. In this second administration of Trump victories and social media campaigns where nothing is bad, everything is all white, right? You're telling me that you think that crew adjacent to us would have responded well to, oh, so I guess Red Skull's gonna come back and he's the big bad representing all white people in America, chasing down the poor black superhero.
Right. There would have been declarations of wokeness, right? They're like, that's woke. Look, why is he got to be a racist? Why is he got to hate black people?
From a gay guy that dresses up like Cyclops, it's all bad, brother. It's all bad. They tore that apart. It's a great idea, though.
I do love that. Yeah.
I think we can make it better. If he wants emotional attachment, you know who they should have had him going up against, right? And they shouldn't have killed him so easily. It should have been someone that does not see Sam Wilson as a superhero as all. This is when Crossbones should have remained in the story at least for another.
Never killed him. Never.
Crossbones sunned him at the end of Winter Soldier, bro. Sam gave him everything he had. In fact, had the building not come down on him, there was a good chance we were going to have a Saving Private Ryan movie where it was an intimate choking to death of Sam Wilson.
Right.
Yeah, he got his ass beat. He did.
Yeah. And actually, that's a really good point because, they deprived the black man of his vengeance in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys, how well you know that movie, but there's a guy in the comic books, he's called Firepower. In this, he's just some random goon or whatever in Iron Man 3. And in it, he beats the crap out of Rhodey.
Yeah.
And he sends him to the hospital. And later on in the movie, when they're wrapping things up, that kill should have been Rhodey's. Instead, they give it to Tony. Tony Rat saves every day, right? And I was like, how did they not realize that for the script to go full completion, you need to have Rhodey get revenge for his sonning earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that dog hunts. Also, another one I want to throw out to you guys, man, is I don't know how familiar you are with a character named Night Owl in Marvel. Do you guys know who Night Owl is?
Yeah. He's the doppelganger of Batman.
And he's as insidious as he can possibly. Every time he makes a reappearance in Marvel, they knock it up a notch, and he becomes worse. And I don't mean the quality of his character. I mean
Batman.
He's like what he's willing to do to win. He actually has a weird relationship with Sam Wilson as Captain America. I don't think they've ever encountered each other, but one of the villains that Sam beat after he became Captain America went to Chicago and started her new career, and she ran into Night Owl, and she somehow became his woman in the chair. I thought this would have been a good idea to introduce some. If you're going to do this, let's just go full on blurred and introduce some black adjacent characters. And I think that's another thing the movie was missing, right? I'm not saying it had to be blackety black, but you did release it during Black History Month, so you could have given us a little bit more. This would have been the opportunity to bring in a Dora Milaje and not waste it on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, right? This would have been a great opportunity for us to deal with some things that happened when Wakanda Forever and now Adamantium. That was my big problem with the movie, Roy. And I remember we were in the car. I'm like, there's something happening here that I can't figure out. It just didn't make any sense. And it's the Adamantium thing. When we left off with the world vying for vibranium, this was a big deal, right? This is a big deal. Namor swimming around, killing border patrol people. Yeah. Like, it's a big deal. And so you mean to tell me that there is no Wakandan representation when the world comes together to find a metal that would essentially bankrupt their country?
Right. It will topple their power base.
Yeah.
And I know in the comics, T'Challa did a really good job when they made they found out when he had to render all the vibranium inert because of Doctor Doom. You find out that he'd been investing across the world. So Wakanda was set even when they lost all the vibranium. But it just seems like that's what it was missing. The commitment to it being a real subterfuge spy thriller. That was my.
You know what? Here's what it is. I actually think that hurt it.
Yeah.
And here's basically what it is. I think they did too good a job with Winter Soldier, and that you can't ever have Winter Soldier again. So you might as well stop trying, right? And some people pointed out that a lot of the plot was similar to Winter Soldier, mainly because once again they were rehashing the same like political thriller,
mind control
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that them adding that into it was keeping it back from being the superhero movie it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I think I wanted more superhero shenanigans.
So I agree, and again, I'm gonna say I don't know why they don't lean more into the actual comic books, because he's an actual superhero in the comic books. Now the bird power is controversial. I mean, he's essentially Aquaman with wings, pretty much, right? Like,
right.
He mentally commands birds or whatever. And in his first run as Captain America, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's a little dope if you think about it. But I think it was Zemo was the villain. He had some plot where he dropped like millions of virus infected fleas on top of Florida or something like that. And Sam Wilson, was trying to figure out how to deal with it. So he sat down, he concentrated or whatever, and like billions of birds flew and ate all the fleas out of the air. And that's some comic booky shit. You know what I mean?
I actually didn't know his bird control was that powerful.
Yeah, so think about it like this too. This sounds like a hilarious power. But if you're fighting somebody and you concentrate,
really
and you
annoying.
stick millions of birds on their
birds.
it's the end of the fight. You know what I'm saying? So that alone would level him up, but they don't lean into that. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Good point. Wait. I want to ask you guys a question, right? You guys enjoy a good kung fu movie like myself. We've talked about, remember we even did an episode where we were rating choreography. I want to ask you and Shaolin for a second. Let's start with you, Shaolin. Let's get back to the fight scenes for a second. Anthony Mackie, I love you, brother. I do, man. I told Mantis I've been rocking with you since that weird movie you did with Spike Lee. Like the first time I ever seen you. Does this man not have the ability to sell a fight scene? Go.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna say yes and no, and I'm not gonna cop out. I'm gonna tell you why. The techniques looked brutal. Like the actual, contact and the moves looked great, but that man looked like he was in water a lot of the time. Like he looked sluggish as hell fighting in those scenes, but the moves look great. So
yeah, and so I'm with you, and so what it is I actually blame, I blame the stunt coordinator and I blame the director.
Right.
And it's 100% them. And so what it is all these actors all have stunt doubles. I hate it when these actors are like, I did all my own stunts. I don't know if you know that famous clip from when the chick Brie Larson said she did all her own stunts, and the dude who plays Thor goes, "No, you didn't." They're on a panel. They're sitting there, and it's like he leans over and goes, "No, you didn't." And but they don't. They all have doubles or whatever. It's up to them to be able to incorporate the double without us realizing it's a double and having a good fight scene. And so I'll give you an example. As soon as he has the fight with the big dude in the beginning, when he's like, we're gonna do this, and he takes off his wings and he's like, let's do this. It harkens back to Captain America versus Batroc the Leaper, right? However, then it makes you compare the fights. Yeah, and obviously the Batroc the Leaper one was more flashy. It was overly flashy. It was like flashy in a way that people wouldn't really ever fight.
Sakes, George St. Pierre.
But he's doing flips and stuff. He's doing flips and flash kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would have preferred flash kicks than what they gave us.
Yeah,
they gave us Sam Wilson doing some they did some wrestling or whatever, but it
wasn't through the table. Boom! Hit him with the WWE. Yeah,
but I don't blame Sam. I blame the director and the stunt coordinator.
So it's the curse of MMA fighting in action movies, right? And mixed martial arts, that is extremely difficult to choreograph. Like, you know how hard it is to convince someone that you're doing an armbar and it look real, you know what I'm saying? Or you're doing a flying guillotine or something like that. Also, listen, I'm not body shaming. I'm not in the best shape. I'm in a lot better shape than I used to be, man. Anthony Mackie just hasn't really committed to the superhero physique. Is there a little bit of that going on here, right? Like we've got all these clips of Chris Evans and these dudes doing deadlifts, and that's good marketing because it also puts it in your head, that these guys are superheroes. Yeah. I don't think I've seen anything like that with Anthony Mackie. I don't think I've seen
I would agree. He looks like an average dude. He looks like an average dude.
And you know what it is? He doesn't have the type of physique that he can put on massive weight.
Right.
Like he can get fit And
doesn't have the genetics.
he gets as jacked to say
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Remember, Bruce Lee could never get big. He just get fitter and tighter, right? But I think another thing, and I'm going to blatantly accuse a bunch of people that I don't know anything about something here on the internet. I'm assuming that these other impossible physiques that The Rock has, that Steve had, all this stuff like that, is from steroids. And
They are. They are. They're all
and
on
I'm
here.
assuming.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm assuming Anthony Mackie didn't want to go down that route.
Mm-hmm.
No,
all on some shit.
And 100%, I'm not shaming the brother at all, man. I think the next outing for him is going to be a better one, man. I think if we continue down this trajectory of Marvel removing itself from certain conversational points, but if you're going to represent it well, because there was so much going on in this movie that was good. I love seeing first Captain America. What's his brother's name, man? Bradley. Isaiah Bradley, man. Isaiah Bradley was amazing to me in this movie, man. And even in the scene with the annoying sidekick, like just seeing him training Sam, that added something to it. And I was like, this is dope, man. This is dope.
No, it was so dope. And actually, I think he was probably the best actor out of everybody.
He took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, he does such a good job. And like when he wakes up from the mind control and he's in the park getting arrested, and you just see like, oh my God, he had all this fear about going into the white man's turf, going to the White House, and sure enough, they screwed him again. And I was like, this poor bastard. I was like, Anthony Mackie, you better save this motherfucker. You better save him.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I kept waiting to hear, Shaolin, is when he woke up from it. What's that one song you hear in every civil rights era movie that's ever made? When something bad is about to happen to a black person, they play some sad, moody music. Like his eyes, you could see it in his eyes. But he was great, man. I love the action scene there. I love when he activated, but
no, that was cool. That was good. So check this out. Hideo Kojima.
Oh, I know him.
So, obviously the director of the Metal Gear video games. And then so he went and he saw it, and he made some comments on Twitter. And of course the shills came out to attack him. Mm-hmm. And then he says, he's like, at the end of Endgame, he gave him the shield, but it wasn't clear that he was going to be Captain America. And then he's like, and where did this sidekick come from? Did I miss something? And I realized that he didn't watch the Disney Plus series.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Right. I mean, look, it was clear to me. Maybe I saw a different movie, but when he gave him the shield, I was like, okay.
Wait, hold on. The nuclear waste must still be floating around in his part of Japan.
I was about to say, man.
The guy who gave us the story of Metal Gear Solid that has more loopholes and plot devices.
The most contrived plot in existence.
Yes, it is. Oh my God, it's so crazy. How crazy.
That's why I made a Hiroshima joke. And what of it?
Oh,
too soon.
Well,
No, we our hearts go out to the families of Hiroshima and all the survivors this many years later still. Yes.
What did you think of Harrison Ford?
Thought he was great.
Here's the thing. Absolutely great. I loved him. There was a part in the movie where I felt, here's what it is. I like the second half way better than the first half.
Right.
There's an actual part where I can actually pinpoint when I started to enjoy the movie more, and it was because of Harrison Ford.
Okay.
It was his whole plot with the heart medicine and his desperation and him confessing to Captain America. I was just like, oh, this is good. This is like good drama happening.
Here's the problem I had though, man. Not enough scenes with him and the leader. Like there should have been like some backdrop scenes or something of how he was using the leader. Actually, I thought the guy who played the leader, man, he's a great actor, by the way. He's one of the most unrecognized character actors that's been out there for a while. I just felt like Harrison Ford really did sell that he's dying from heart problems that can turn into a monster and kill us all.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor. He's a great actor. He's not just a pretty boy, Han Solo or whatever.
This was the first time I can remember where I felt like he put like legitimate effort, like he cared about it.
Yeah.
He always comes across as a grouchy ass old man.
Yep.
Like a crotchety old man. But he actually seemed like he was in it to win it this time. You know what I mean? With this movie. Yeah.
Oh, go.
I was just gonna say, man, the leader, he got a lot of hate.
Yeah.
I liked it. I love the
Here's the
gamma
thing, I love
irradiated
comic book.
eyes, you know. Yeah.
The thing, I love comic book leader.
Yeah.
And so obviously, they really watered him down on this one, and so
did.
obviously, I'm gonna hate on that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. So I don't know if you watch a lot of these other like YouTubers or whatever who break it down. They were breaking down some trailers. It was New Rockstars, and they pointed out all these scenes that we didn't get. And apparently, in an earlier version, the leader was a free roaming villain. So there's a scene in one of the trailers when they're leaving the White House, and across the street, there's somebody watching them with a green hand. And then there's also a part when he's turning into the Red Hulk. There's a scene where there's a guy in the thing with a, like an Uncle Sam hat. And he comes up to the podium and he's taking it off, and it's clearly the leader's big head in there. And so they were going to have him do all sorts of other things that just didn't make it into the movie. And I'm like, that's why I'm so curious. I'm like, what did I miss exactly?
Sometimes less is more, right? I just want you to think about the scene you just described. The leader running up to the stage, like,
it's that super villain. I like that. I like the cheese. Yeah.
I know they tried to make this an impactful scene. Spoiler alerts, man. But when he kills Sam's strike team, I mean, other than the thought of men, people who serve being murdered, I was just like, did we really need to see him? They could have died off screen.
So let me ask you, what is it? It's not just him, it's also the new Falcon. I don't care about him at all. Am I the only one who doesn't when he fell out of the sky into the ocean? I was like, oh,
I knew you were going to bring that up.
I was like, oh well. Did anyone else feel that?
Yeah, I mean, that whole scene actually was kind of for me, I was like, wait a minute, you guys, Sam, you've killed aliens. I saw you stab a big robotic gorilla with your wings. Why can't you take these Japanese pilots out, man? Why can't you take these American?
Well, remember he was trying to do it peacefully. He's trying to spare the pilot's life and stuff. So that's always harder. I just go around killing everybody.
Yeah. Yo, I knew when I was watching this movie that he was going to be one of the controversial parts, the new Falcon. Yeah. I knew watching it. I'm like, you're either gonna love him or you're gonna wish he died in the movie, right? Again, I'm so chill. He was okay with me. I thought he was funny at times. And he handled business, I guess, when he needed to, except when he got his ass shot out of the sky. So he didn't really perturb me, but I would not behoove people who did not like him. I would understand why.
A lot of people really didn't like him. Now, I don't hate on the guy, but I'm not fond of him.
Yeah.
I mean, where his character started going left for me, and it wasn't because of what was happening, it was just the delivery. When he's making fun of Isaiah Bradley, I'm like, these jokes aren't funny. This feels like 90s era type joking. They didn't do a great job with this.
He's a cliche sidekick.
Yeah.
Right? This is what you think a sidekick is. Yeah. Stupid jokes. Everybody eye rolls him. What a Facebook user. How are you?
Yo, who he reminds me of? He reminds me of who was the dude that played Robin in the Val Kilmer movie? That's who he reminds me of.
Chris O'Brien.
Him. Yeah. His personality. He totally reminds me of Robin from that movie, yo.
Completely. Chris O'Donnell. Yeah. But yeah, it's typical idiot sidekick. Yeah. Doesn't know when to shut up. Doesn't know when to stand back and let your hero do the work.
Right.
He's like, don't worry, I can handle him. And you're like, motherfucker, I just said don't do it.
Quick question, guys. So some comic accurate stuff. Here we have the Celestial in the middle of the ocean, right?
Oh, what up, Lo?
At one point, the Avengers headquarters are in a dead Celestial. Did you know that? Did you guys know that?
I did.
I didn't actually know that. I assume that's some 2020s bullshit.
So fast forwarding to what's going to happen with Thunderbolts, right? Obviously, Homegirl bought the Avengers Tower. We know Sentry's going to be the bad guy in there. And Bucky, have you seen the new trailer for Thunderbolts, the edited version? They acknowledge in the trailer that he is a senator now for the new Thunderbolts trailer. So what do you guys think is going to happen here, man? Because we got a quick, fast, in a hurry. Doom is coming up. Secret Wars. There's got to be an Avengers team. And as of to date, There's no Avengers. There's no team. So where are we going with all this, man? Like, what's it going to take to get all these people in one spot again?
I really have no idea.
You know, sometimes, you know how I said like the Winter Soldier went too big? Well, Endgame went too big. Endgame was too successful, and that's why it's so hard to follow up. You know, like people point out that like Brave New World is better than most Phase 1 movies, but people aren't responding to that. Right. You know, they'll think back to the first Thor and think it was genius when they really need to see that movie again. You know, and so the problem with one of the problems with Endgame is it was a wonderful end chapter, but they killed everybody.
They did.
And so I think they should have slowly killed Avengers off throughout the epic, but to kill them all in one sitting, it leaves just this big void where anyone who comes in, they're going to look like they're trying to be the Avengers rather than being the Avengers.
Absolutely. I mean, we got scraps. I mean, who do we even have at this point? Who do we got? We got Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't think Captain Marvel, we're ever going to see her ass again. She's probably that's done.
Here's what it is. We'll still put her on the list because she could story-wise, she could appear. I have a feeling that actress doesn't want to come back.
Oh no.
So we got Captain Marvel, we got Spider-Man, right? We got Doc Strange. We've got obviously Captain America.
Yeah.
Thor.
Bucky is going to be with the Thunderbolts, but remember the Avengers can be comprised of every superhero there. That's what Endgame gave us.
Right. Shang-Chi.
Damn, I forgot about him.
Yeah, they got Black Panther Shuri.
I do not want to see her ass in the
you know what? That's so funny. I said that. I have the same feeling that like it's so funny. I was such an advocate for her being Black Panther, and now that I've seen her as Black Panther, I'm like, let's not revisit that.
No,
she just
I like that actress too, man. It's not so many things not her fault, not Ryan Coogler's fault. It's just she was not meant to be in that portion of the story. You know what I'm saying? In fact, when she becomes Black Panther in the comics, it is for like a very minute second, and it's because
of course
out there doing wild stuff with the Illuminati.
So you know, I want to point something out that
what up, DT? What up, Bex?
I have a theory. I have like, you know, one of Roy's theories about what they're going to do with Black Panther. Would you like to hear it?
I would love to.
So Steve didn't say he wanted to hear it.
Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play T'Challa.
And he's going to do the blackface that he did in Tropic Thunder.
I hope so, because it was brilliant.
It was brilliant. So here's what it is. So far, the rumors are that in Doomsday, it's going to be the new Avengers versus the doppelgangers of the old Avengers. And so it's going to be Captain Hydra. It's going to be Dr. Doom. It's going to be like an evil Scarlett Johansson, whatever. They're all going to be back, right? And what they're going to do is they're recasting, you know, because there's all these reports of them looking for a Black Panther.
Right.
I think he's going to be their doppelganger. He's going to be evil Black Panther. However, by the end of the movie, he will see the error of his ways. He will become a good guy, and he will stay in the 616, fake 616 movie dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And he will continue to be Black Panther from that point on.
I think you're trying to get us canceled by black people. Nobody.
Oh Lord, why?
No, I think blacks will revolt against T'Challa being portrayed as a villain in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a good idea.
I think the evil.
Yes,
evil Black Panther, just like everyone. I would put money that he's going to appear.
Any way we can get him back in the Black Panther suit, I will take it. So if that's the way we do it, then let's go.
I want to go on record as to saying that this will be the death nail in the MCU. If we get any Power Ranger shenanigans where we have to see them fighting evil versions of themselves, like it's bad marketing in the sense where it's like, hey, so what you're saying is we have to have these actors back to move the story along and make it relevant again.
They've already called them back. They're going to be in some way or form, whoever they play, they are coming back. Steve Rogers will be in there. Tony Stark is back. Like, there's nothing we can do at this point.
It's a bad idea. I think this is what
I agree with you. It's proving that you're weak. Like, they didn't even let them get one movie on their own. They were like, we absolutely need you back immediately. We have no faith in these other actors.
But let's go with it for a second. Why not just bring them back? Why do I got to sit through a storyline that we grew out of? Guys, come on. When's the last time you watched Power Rangers? When's the last time you watched G.I. Joe or Thundercats, where the evil version of Lion-O has somehow made it to this universe? Come on.
No, but I'm saying that, they do that. All these stories are like that. All these stories are cheesy comic books.
It's a comic book trope to fight the evil version of yourself. Yeah.
Thanos wanting
having a seizure. I don't want to go through this. Oh, Roy's frozen.
Let me tap my screen.
Hey,
you there?
Come back, big guy. Come back, Roy.
Did you guys hear my voice?
There he is.
He's back.
Did you guys hear my voice?
No.
So I'm saying Thanos trying to rid the galaxy of half-life instead of doubling resources is a comic book, is an idiotic Power Ranger story. Right?
But that's what I'm saying but that wasn't the comic book story. He did it.
No, it's not the comic book story, but I'm just saying it's comic book-esque. It's silly. It's childish. It's not well thought out.
I think that Rob from Comics Explain would agree with me on this one. That was a pure Disney move. I'm sure they pitched the original idea. All right, tell me about the purple guy. What's he do? And like, well, he's going to kill everyone. Okay, I love it. Why is he going to do it?
That's what they do a lot of characters. They're like, what's your shtick? They're like the leader. He thinks. Oh, he thinks? Okay, good. No more. I don't need to hear anymore.
Yeah. All right. I want to ask you guys, you two learned gentlemen, one last question, right? Was this the Black Trifecta needs to come to jury right now? Was it a good idea to release this movie during Black History Month?
I mean, I think so, because it made bank when it came. It overperformed. So clearly there was a method to the madness. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't see any cons with it.
So it could have been blacker. The movie could have been blacker. I was actually disappointed. I was expecting it to be blacker, and it wasn't that black actually. But you know what? I bet you that, like you said, they're probably scared of these anti-woke guys.
Yeah,
they are
giving it a bad review because they're like, look at this. What? Because you know what? I actually have to say, I think I may have liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier storyline better than this, because it actually deals with the challenge of becoming a Black Captain America. And how can you not discuss that? How is that not a thing? That'd be insane to ignore it.
You know, Roy, you bring up a good point, man.
You do.
What if instead of just focusing on being the Black Captain America, how about they actually got to the nitty-gritty of it, being the not as great Captain America? This is what we're all really talking about, right? Sam's dealing with something where it's like, how do you step in the shoes of a man that basically won for 100 years, right? Beloved by the country, right? Without the super.
Andy was white.
Andy was
that insult to injury.
I don't think they should have released it during Black History Month, but I'm glad they did, because it proves the point that I've been trying to make about the original Black Panther movie. That's not why that movie succeeded. That movie succeeded because no one was ready for the topic matter and the subjects they were going to hit on in that movie. And it was the right movie for the right time. You can't just release any movie with Black people during Black History Month and expect it to become $1 billion property, right?
Absolutely.
I will say it's missing a little bit of sauce though, because I mean, you guys went to the theater for Black Panther, right? That shit was a celebration. Everybody I went with, people had koofies on. They had
yes. Oh my god,
celebration, bro! It was
I was in Brooklyn, and people. It was wild. It was wild. People were hanging out. So the people in the showing before me crowd in front of the theater. I go in and I had a great time. When I come back out, they're still out on the street hanging out, talking about the movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is,
Wait, you mean to tell me there weren't theaters full of Black conservatives with Captain America shields running around celebrating this historic moment?
So, in terms of blackness, it didn't have enough sauce for that. But just in general, I think the movie didn't have enough sauce. And I'll explain it like this.
Yeah.
Most movie premieres, like MCU movie premieres or superhero premieres, when me and Steve see them, the drive home, we're talking nonstop about what we just saw and all these things. This time, the conversation ended in like 10 minutes.
Damn.
There wasn't much to talk about, right? If you think about it, a lot happened, but like nothing really happened in it, right?
Yeah.
And I just it was missing something. It's missing something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't. On the last thing I'm going to say on it, it doesn't help that even though Sidewinder is a cool character, they did try to recreate that iconic scene between Captain America and Bucky when they're fighting in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And so what we got instead was our hero fighting an elderly man and barely winning.
I agree.
Okay, so somebody pointed out that a lot of the things that they do, particularly in the ninjas and super spy genres, they've already done in these things. So like we said, he has the one-on-one fight in the beginning to prove he's a badass with a much better opponent or tougher opponent. Right. Like you said, they were totally mimicking that scene right there, right? They even had the thing where he goes on a hunt and he discovers that a supervillain who was in hiding is really in control of the government. Yeah. That's already happened in Winter Soldier. And so, and once people were pointing that stuff out, I started, what?
No, that guy that was hiding. We're both out of time.
Yes, exactly. Our name's old or whatever. So it's, I don't hate it for that because, these movies are repetitive, but they really did try to bring back Winter Soldier. They really just.
And that's entirely your fault. And people like it. And I'm gonna lay it right at your blame, man. All this return to form conversation, which I've been guilty of as well. This is Hollywood's interpretation of that, right? We say, hey, return to form, and what we mean is give us stories that we care about. We want you to make the story, but we want you to focus on making it good. What they hear is, they want Winter Soldier again. Put a black guy in it, release it in February, and it make billions. And that's
and they said, you know what it is? They said they want Winter Soldier again. It'll be great. And then somebody says, well, he's black. We could put it in February and get the black dollars. and that's, I think I agree with you. That's how I think the executives were talking. It's not good, these damn executives. And so here's my idea.
What's your
Speaking
idea?
Of black geniuses.
Oh boy.
I think Bo DeMayo, this man they fired and are suing or something, should become the new executive producer of the MCU. He should take over Kevin Feige's job.
I was thinking that when we were talking it before, but I was like, in the next image now that I can't purge out of my head is him dressed as Cyclops minus the blue part of the uniform, and how that's never gonna fly.
Hey, wait, he sent that to interns. Oh man, because I don't know if we talked about this on Fanboy, but like when what if season 3 came out, after all the episodes had done, Bo DeMayo said, if I was in charge of that show, I would have done these what ifs, and he listed off these what ifs, and every one of them was a banger.
Yeah,
everyone. Like one of them was like, what if Daredevil never went blind?
Right.
So like he had a lot of ones that I really would have loved to see instead of what if season 3 was. And so this guy is like the king of ideas. I really wish they need to make peace with him. They need to pay off these interns. they need to recruit him back in.
I don't understand what happens when you get to a point where it's like, I mean, never mind. I'm not going to go with that narrative. It was like, what must have been good. And like, what happens with our black celebrities when they reach a level? It's like, now it's time to beat my white girlfriend in the car for everyone to see. Now it's time for me to start seeing interns, exotic pictures of me. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is some Manchurian Candidate type stuff, my brother. We must stay woke. We must stay focused. When you hit
stay vigilant. You must stay focused, brother.
When you hit a certain level of success, they will activate you.
Definitely this is my advice for everybody, whether you're a person of color or not. Do all your sex shit outside of the office. Don't chase tail in the office. Don't send sex. What?
Be a monk. Don't do it. Commit to a higher form of living, which is entertaining us.
If you're going to be a dog, leave the office. There you go. Go do it somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Go to Thailand like the rest of the rich guys. Are you guys ready to talk about the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Oh, yes. Here comes the Spider-Man.
Kick it off, man. This is your world, man. White guys swinging around in jeans. Let's go.
Okay, so you've always hated Spider-Man. For some reason, you treat him like he's the arch nemesis of Wolverine, even though he clearly has never been. right?
I don't treat him like that. I just support Canada and all their efforts. That's all.
We have to admit Spider-Man is an A plus level superhero and celebrity, and pretty much anything he's in makes some level of success. He's never really had an unsuccessful cartoon or movie or whatever, right? So he's, this is already a winner, but I actually think that this cartoon is like next level winner.
Easily.
I would.
It is the best Spider-Man iteration, like animation wise, we have ever gotten.
I absolutely agree. Agree.
I would absolutely say this might be the best Spider-Man I've watched outside of the Tom Holland, and I would be okay if this was the official canon moving forward.
Yeah.
I said that. I said I would be okay if this was.
So I love that they, all the things. Like, let's talk about it. So first, I love that they have the intro, and the intro has like the 1960s cartoon theme remixed from modern age. Even have a rapper at some point. But it keeps the artwork like it's a 60s comic, right?
Every intro is a new cover at the end.
Oh, I love that they do the cover, and they do the box, the hero box up in the top. And I love how it correlates to like what's going on in the episode. It's so well done. Also, you have noticed that I do love that the timeline is basically they're in a what if Spider-Man didn't join the Avengers. Right? It's like a remix of the MCU because the events of the MCU are happening while the cartoon is happening.
And it took me a second to realize that. I was a little confused. But
when the Civil War thing,
right. Yep.
I was like, wasn't he there? What's happening?
See, and then you read my mind.
And then actually somebody pointed this out, and I didn't catch this. When he comes home, I think it's probably at the end of the first or second episode, and his aunt is there with a man on the couch, and then he's like, and it's Norman Osborn. I forgot that's how Tony was introduced.
They basically gave us the backstory of how what led up to Tony meeting him. Even down to, if you remember the snippet in that movie Civil War, they show him stopping the car, hitting the bus, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, they're really following like point for point, man, and I love it. I love it, my brothers. This is good stuff.
Yeah,
yo, the costumes. Let me tell you something. The white one he got, like the white and blue one.
Yeah,
that shit I would not have minded if that was his suit for the rest of the show.
I thought this cartoon was going to go with it.
Yo, did you guys play Spider-Man 2?
Yes.
He gets the anti-venom suit
towards
the end of the story.
Yes.
That shit, I don't know. Maybe it's just white and black with me on Spider-Man that I'm messing with. Maybe that's what that is. But yo,
when they premiered the Future Foundation,
the Future Foundation costume. That was I love the whole costuming thing. It's so funny that they're referencing like a really lame story in the 90s where it was called like, Identity Crisis or something, where Spider-Man starts putting on he for whatever reason he can't be Spider-Man publicly, so he has 4 different superhero costumes that he puts on. And I love, I do love that they're at least referencing like old Spider-Man comics and stuff. And so let's talk about something just real quick. So I label this cartoon woke as fuck. However, they don't rub your face in it, and it's a type of woke that I'm cool with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
You know how I feel when I hear that word. For the viewers at home, when I hear woke, my brain goes and I shut that shit off immediately
because it's overused. It's overused and misused often.
But yeah. It definitely is.
If you look at the comment section of a lot of YouTube things, kids will use woke wrong.
Right.
They just mean it's something they don't like or something like it's woke. My house is woke.
But again, it's so well done. It's hard to care. And I will say, how many we got like, off the top of my head, like 6 or 7 Spider-Man cartoons that have been the same exact thing the entire time. Go watch one of those ones. You know what I mean? We switching it up and doing things a bit different. That's fine. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. It's not canon. It's not the main thing. You'll be okay, brother. You'll wake up tomorrow and life will move on. We're good.
Can I also propose a counter to it being woke? Maybe this is more accurate to it being in New York. My big beef with Spider-Man has always been the same thing as Friends. You mean to tell me in the wide metropolis of New York, even in the podunk part of New York, like Queens, there are no black people?
Right. All of Spider-Man's friends being white is
Everyone's
not
white?
probable. It's not even. And,
Yeah.
and actually, I made a joke with my sister.
There are
I
no
said,
Latinos?
I was like, you would have thought it would took place in the Middle East with all the jihad, Jews or whatever they're wearing. And she was like, no, that's Queens. Queens is filled with Arabs.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, snap, you're right.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of
Greeks.
So,
They're all over Queen.
and like we've already talked about this, how it's funny that he's Black Norman Osborn, but maybe he was always really black.
There ain't no way with them ways that he's not. I'm sorry.
I've always thought that. And Norman Osborn is greatness. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I think it kind of redeems the character from. I make no secret of this, Shaolin. When they went to go see, when I say they, Mantis and my other best friend went to go see Spider-Man, they were like, yo, go check it out. You're going to like it. I'll never forget that the only part of that movie I really enjoyed was the fight scene between Green Goblin and Spider-Man. Do you remember when Green Goblin just leveled up during that fight scene? Like he caught him with a flying. That was but otherwise, now I was like, this is really campy. But this Norman Osborn makes me remember why there were so many rumors about him coming into the MCU. I'm like, oh man, this guy's a legitimate threat. He is a problem to like anyone, like a Tony Stark, to a T'Challa, to even a Doctor Doom. I forget that Norman Osborn is right up there with Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Like,
and I have to say, I actually really love the Avengers, and it was actually comic wide storyline Dark Reign. When he becomes head of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was like, finally, Norman Osborn isn't just messing with a teenager in New York. He's become the true global threat he's really meant to be.
Yeah.
Because he really is like a great villain.
That's right. Yeah.
I also really enjoyed this portion of it, man. Real quick nod to the multiverse. They got that out of the way in the first episode, like quick, fast, in a hurry. They were like, this is what's happening. That's how this whole thing should have been handled. This whole part of this saga should have been handled this way.
Within the first couple of minutes, and obviously this is a spoiler review. We've been spoiling Captain America. We might as well spoil this, right? First couple of minutes of the first episode, I was like, the spiders from another dimension?
They stole.
How do you feel about that? Right? It was like
they stole that from Sony. I know Sony must be rolling in it. Did you see Spider-Verse across the Spider-Verse?
Oh yeah. And so, but like the fact that they did that and they made it like it seemed like it has like some possible mystical connection instead of a scientific one. Different route, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter as long as he's bitten by a spider. Who the fuck cares, right?
Exactly. But look, that's the brilliance. That's what really got me. This show kept going. The last episode, it felt like it was going to end, but they kept giving you little nuggets until the show finally ended. But one of the dopest parts about that, man, was at the end, when Doctor Strange sends that, Venom creature wherever it's going and the spider drops down, it brings it back to the first episode. The whole timey-wimey shit.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have nothing but good things to say about this show, man. Scorpion, people complain about woke shit. Scorpion, I love him being Mexican, yo. That shit was beautiful, bro. Calling him Aranya,
Aranya, right? And like, you know what's funny, because he is clearly the Matt Gargan from the MCU that we should have had Scorpion a while ago. So I'm glad they're giving us Scorpion.
Right.
But I love that it's the essays versus the blacks.
Not so much in New York. Hey, listen, to all my Serranos that tried to take over New York, y'all lost that one bad. But you got the West Coast, so that's all good.
Locked down too.
Locked down. You know what's also really amazing about this show is things I don't mind, like Connors being a woman. And I thought about it. I was like, I've never cared about that character at all.
Right.
I don't care about the lizard. I don't care if it's a woman. If they do something dope, and honestly, I think they set us up in Sony's animated Spider-Man. Olivia Octavius or whatever, the female she was so great. My mind was opened to like maybe this would be something dope too. Like we'll see where it goes.
Absolutely. Because as long as they hold their same things, and I've said to people on Twitter or whatever when they're complaining about Black Norman Osborn, I was like, the only things that matter about his Osborn is none of them have to do with race. Is he the CEO of a science tech company who goes insane experimenting with things, who wants to kill Spider-Man and ends up flying around on a glider, right? On some sort of glider. As long as those things are all those boxes are checked, he can be anything. He could be Chinese for all I care.
It's true.
Right. And same with Connors, as long, actually Connors is a pretty like one-dimensional character. As long as it's a scientist experimenting with lizards, I don't really think anything
literally
else.
Nothing to Kirk Connors at all, except that he doesn't have an arm and he's a big lizard. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's it. So,
that's a character I can't believe hasn't been killed multiple times in the comics. I keep going back like someone had to have killed the lizard before, and it's like he makes it through almost every skirmish.
You know what it is? He's not big enough to be like a threat to anybody, so they kind of ignore him, I think.
Right.
Like I would just knock him out. I've never even I don't think about the lizard.
No.
Unless he's right in front of me, I do not think about it.
You need to play Spider-Man too.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. Tell him.
So he's in Spider-Man 2, and his sequence when he becomes the lizard, it turns into a horror movie. Yeah, like this jump scares in it and everything. And honestly, that's probably the best way to do the lizard. Yeah, body horror type stuff would work with him.
Yep. So my question is, and so obviously people are gonna be like, "Oh, Roy's Gamergate, Mantis is all in the Gamergate or whatever." One of the things that turned me off from Spider-Man 2 is this whole ugly Mary Jane thing.
Oh, get over it, man. Let's get over it, bro.
Here's the thing, though.
Sleep with her. She's not real.
Look, I don't like looking at ugly chicks. And I hear there's an entire level with the ugly Mary Jane.
It's only in certain cutscenes. Like sometimes I look at her, I'm like, okay, and then sometimes I'm like, oh.
The internet like fried her, man. They just went hard on
that. They did.
Yes, they did.
You know.
And it's funny that it's modeled after one of the writers. Ooh. Poor girl.
They do much for her self-esteem.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I do really enjoy the fact that we got an animated Doctor Strange in this. Man, there's so much stuff that happened in this that it was so quick, and it makes me realize, just from a writing aspect, how much time they spent focusing on the wrong things in the movies. Even in What If, man, I don't know if we needed Doctor Strange represented that much. Like even Doctor Strange, think about the character himself in the comics. Whenever he showed up, I had to make a critical decision if I was going to read this book or not. I was like, oh. Whoa, he's here.
No, I do agree. That is funny. That is funny. When he would show up in a comic book, I'm like, does he need to be here? Like you'd be reading Daredevil, and like Doctor Strange would come out of nowhere.
I'm just like, whoa, what's he doing? He's moving his hands around.
That's another thing. Yo, the two, even though small appearances, Daredevil appearing,
goated.
I heard it was amazing. I don't care about any spoilers, but I heard it was pretty amazing.
Yo, he showed, I think it was Charlie Cox that did his voice too, but the fight scene was amazing. Yo, they had cues from the Netflix score, and the music when, he beat Spider-Man's ass, but it wasn't because he was more powerful. He was just a better fighter. Yeah. Yo, it was awesome, man. It was awesome.
Yo, Shaolin, can I pitch an idea I pitched to Mantis once, man? I've always thought that Spider-Man should have came in to the New York City superhero demographic, like that scene, on the heels of a retiring Daredevil. Just imagine an alternate universe where Daredevil was the #1 hero in New York for years, because he's always had the ability to do that, man. Think about who he's taken down. He's also beaten Dr. Octopus. He has also beaten Kingpin. I believe he could take Green Goblin out fairly easy. Like if someone's built for Daredevil to beat him, it's Green Goblin, the guy that flies around laughing on a machine that makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
That's in the bag. I've always thought it would have been a better idea to have Spider-Man come in, be trained up by the hero that's retiring down, and they never did it, man. They never did it.
Something I loved about the Ultimate comics, but not 616, was that the time is an actual thing,
right?
And so, like for instance, like so in the original in the 60s, Spider-Man was a teenager. And like Tony Stark was like 30. And then by the 80s, Spider-Man was 30. And so was Tony Stark. This doesn't make any sense. What's happening? And because they don't let people die. They don't let people age up. They age whenever you want. Like it's a soap opera. 1 minute you're a teenager. Next minute you're in your 20s. They'll turn you back into a teenager if they need that to be the case.
Right.
But I do think that it would like the superheroes would exist. It would be cooler if they exist in time. Like you said, a hero retires and his sidekick takes his role, or they train and like all this stuff. If they kept track of that, it'd be pretty cool.
So you guys both finished the show, man. So I'm gonna go watch it, but I don't care about any of the spoilers. Do you, as two gentlemen who enjoyed comics, enjoy the Spider-Man lore, do you feel as if they did the animated series justice? Like, did they do it justice?
You know, they did, and my main issue, just like all these shows, all streaming shows, they need more episodes.
Yeah.
Like if you look like shows used to have like 22 episodes in a season, this at least had 10. Some live action have like 8.
Yeah.
You know, this is a cartoon. You should be delivering every week with more Spider-Man.
Okay.
But I loved it, especially Doc Ock, and I'm excited about Doc Ock.
Oh, yo.
Because did you see his sketches?
Yeah,
I think this is one of the later episodes, but there's of him designing his arms, but he's designed 8 arms.
Yep.
So when
that threw me off for a second. He's gonna be a straight up octopus this time.
He's gonna be a real octopus this time. Yeah, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, there was so much. They teased a lot, like the whole Tombstone thing. Lonnie, his fall from grace, man. That hit me right here, I couldn't watch. It was hard at points. I'm like, damn, we really gonna do this? Are we really gonna do this? And they did it.
You cannot exist as that type of person in Marvel. I've always thought they did that better than DC. You cannot be a good human being in the Marvel universe.
Right, in the Marvel universe. Like, or basically only Spider-Man is allowed to be a good person. Everyone else gets fucked.
Pretty much. Now I'll say this, stand-up kid, all A's in his class, attractive girlfriend, takes care of his family, his brother, all that stuff. And by the end of the show, he gets his powers or whatever, and he does team up with Spider-Man, and they're kind of like bros towards the end. And kind of leaves off of him leading the gang, and you can tell that they're going to end up fighting each other at some point. It is in the air.
Of course. And
does he become Tombstone?
So
yeah, go ahead, man.
Here's what it is: he gets his powers, but he hasn't turned white yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see it on his hands, like he's scratching his hands. His hands are turning white, so they're teasing it.
On that. But at the end, another thing is at the end, spoiler alert for last episode, when his gang comes to pick him up, he's getting in the car and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute!" And he takes off his high school varsity jacket and throws it in the trash.
Yeah.
And when he gets into the car, I was like, it's like a representation that he's putting it all in for the gang.
Yeah.
Right.
And forgetting his football high school life. Yeah.
Again, it feels like do you guys, some of you agree with this? The first new Spider-Man movie, MCU, Tom Holland, man, doesn't it feel like this show filled in the gaps that maybe you didn't want to admit out loud existed in those movies? Like, I like Spider-Man No Way Home, Far From Home, and what's the first one? Homecoming, right? Did I get it all? Yeah. But I remember when I went to go see Homecoming in Los Angeles, and I was like, oh, this is I should have brought my son.
Hold on. See, here's the thing. I know y'all weren't a real fan of Homecoming, and I might be biased because I fight with Batman or Spider-Man being like my favorite superhero. I fight between the two. But man, let me tell you something. When the movie started and they have like the MCU ticker thing with all the people coming in through the Marvel, words or whatever, and they were playing the 60s score, but it was all cinematic and epic.
Beautiful.
I had to sit in my chair and grip the seat from, to avoid jumping up and acting like a lunatic. That shit, I knew Spider-Man was home when that shit came. I knew it was time.
My brother, I agree with you. The problem is I just got through. Let me take you back further to what made you really happy, right? Remember the Thursday, I believe it was a Thursday, when we all woke up to that leaked footage, and I don't care who tries to change and say they knew all that Grace Randolph stuff. None of you knew when that footage dropped of him shooting the web and pulling Captain America's shield out of his hand. Do you remember where you were at when that scene dropped on YouTube?
Oh my God.
I'm like, what? And then after that, let me take you a little bit further. When we were all still on on Facebook, there was this whole little thing, this meme, this little cartoon they had made, which was just, it hit me right here, man. It was Spider-Man and the baby Marvel characters. You guys remember baby X-Men, baby Avengers?
Yeah.
So they're all chilling, playing with each other in a sandbox, and then 2 white guys in suits come and grab little baby Spider-Man and drag him away. and they're all screaming
Crying,
for him,
Oh man,
Captain America running after him, and they take Spider-Man away. And then the next panel is him swinging back in, and he's in there with them, and I'm just like, and it's like Spider-Man returns to Marvel, and I almost cried. It wasn't I didn't love Homecoming, man.
Yeah.
It came after that epic tale, so I was like, it kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was still great.
I get it. Yeah, it was a little kiddie at parts. You know what I mean?
yeah, I just can't get down with that chapter, and I really like Tom Holland. I had multiple issues with that interpretation. Like, my major one is Iron Boy.
Yeah,
I don't like him being Iron Boy. I don't care for that. I thought the Vulture was too grounded. Like, somebody really didn't like superheroes who designed that character, and they were like, let's do the Vulture, except he did not have a costume, and he'd just be like a dude. And I was surprised he had wings.
I thought Michael Keaton was great in that, though, man. When he
was great, but I'm saying I just feel like the revamp of him, I just wasn't feeling. And
so you know what it was? I thought about this a lot. That was the first Spider-Man, live action Spider-Man, where the actors were kids. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Man is actually a teenager this time. Like the actor is an actual teenager. You know what I mean? So I feel like that kind of kiddified it a little bit.
Right.
But I will say, like you said, Steve, there was a couple of parts in that movie that hit kind of hard for me. The first one was when he was taking them to prom.
Oh yeah.
And he figured out he was Spider-Man in the car.
That was a great scene.
Actually, that is an absolute great scene.
You know what else is a great scene, my brother? Remember when he's trying to, like, the homage, him trying to pull the ferry back together? Yeah. This is why I don't dismiss him as a Iron Lad or like young Iron Man, because it shows like, oh yeah, Spider-Man really isn't operating on that level as like the Avengers proper. And I don't know if he ever really was in the comics. Whenever he tried to like be in that place with them, it's like, you're probably not going to make it through the skirmish. How many times have you read that in the comics where someone just told Spider-Man, like, you're probably not going to live through this? But like, when you're going to fight Thanos in Infinity Gauntlet, like, he had to know that he's like, there's nothing to swing on out here. It's space.
Yeah.
I'm not built for this fight. But I love that scene, man. I also love the fact that in part 2, Tom Holland actually starts to, like, as he's maturing, the character's maturing, right? It's coming off the heels of Tony's death, and like you're seeing, maybe there's maybe a kid should not have gone to space with Tony Stark, right?
yo, Homecoming, probably my favorite scene in the movie was when the Vulture collapses the building on top of him.
Yes, that was.
He's like crying and shit. Like you realize he's a kid at that point. He's like screaming for help, and nobody's coming to help him, and he's stuck under there, and he has to get himself out. That shit was real. There was no music. There was nothing. It was just that man's acting. Right. He was crying. He was like, I'm about to die in this bitch. You know what I mean?
The youthfulness of Spider-Man is like, it's so gold, man. And so it's so funny because in the cartoon, they actually reference Spider-Man 2, with Doc Ock from like the early 2000s, when they're like, when they take his mask off and they're like, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
With the hospital workers. And so, like, remember that happened in the subway?
Yeah.
That's a heartwarming scene.
It was.
Yeah.
When he gets knocked unconscious and they're like, he's just
the original 3, they gave us some great shots. Like, you mess with one New Yorker, you mess with this is one hit. That guy dies first. Kill him first.
But I was saying, such an eternal character. His villains, his rogues gallery, even though I was busting jokes on Lizard, even his Amazing Spider-Man with the Lizard is a great movie and a great fights in that. Right.
I gotta publicly say that, man, even though I do not like Spider-Man, it's not because of the quality of the character. I just don't like his fans. Much like Kendrick Lamar, I recognize how great he is. It's his fans.
That's really wise, actually. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. They are really obnoxious people.
But I got to admit, man, I'm excited about this cartoon, man, and it reminds me, and I say this all the time, Superman definitely is the linchpin character for DC, as much as I don't want to admit it, and they've made him that, and they have great stories. Spider-Man has to be that character for Marvel, right?
He's the face of Marvel, man. He is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they have to be real. They have to admit this. I know they don't want to because it's partially owned by Sony, but they just have to admit that that's just, even I know they were hoping it would be Iron Man or Captain America, but nah, it is Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man. Yep.
And that's why the next three movies, Tom Holland. I don't care. Actually, I just want to give a shout out to Tom Holland for being the cool white boyfriend at the Black family gathering and being disrespected every 3 seconds. Oh, here comes Spider-Man. I'd be like, yo, my man, my name is Tom. Right? I'm off the clock right now. I'll hold your baby. Don't call me Spider-Man again.
And speaking of predictions, Roy's going to make some movie predictions about Spider-Man franchise.
They got to do denim for the next 3 movies. That's what I want.
So I don't know anything about the villains, but I will say this: there is a rumor that they will not be putting Zendaya in it at all in the next one.
I hope so.
Which I think is good.
Yeah,
she's forgotten him because of the spell, right? And so I want him to hopefully get with Black Cat, or just play the field. And then I assume like she'll have a lesser part in part 5, and then he'll get her back in 6, and they'll end up together, or some crap. Right. I assume she's going to be going on the trajectory of Mary Jane from the comics, even though technically they're different MJs, but we all know she's really MJ. Right. Which I assume she'll end up becoming like a soap opera star or something.
Okay, probably.
Okay.
I really hope they follow through with what's his face, Ned being Hobgoblin.
He's too big. I'm sorry. I'm not fat. He ain't gonna. No. Stop.
You're body shaming the Hobgoblin right now.
I'm not for real, shaming the Hobgoblin. No, just stop it. Ned is already imprinted in our minds. They'd have to change the actor. You're not going to get me.
No, don't change the act. I want to see this actor become Hobgoblin.
He doesn't have the range, man. They picked him because he's the fat, jolly kid. He's not going to turn around and be the evil, sadistic guy.
Put his ass on a diet and make him fall to evil.
Give him that goblin gas, baby. Give him that goblin gas, man.
Yeah, there we go.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's nothing wrong with being big. You're big and beautiful. All of you are great.
Yeah, he's rotund.
He's plump. He's pleasantly plump. Okay.
Well, here's what I'm saying. They've hinted it because remember it was so clear. I think total foreshadowing in the third one when one of them says, "My best friend became became my arch villain,"
and they let it simmer for a second.
They let it simmer in Ned's head, and so now he's not going to know. And my theory is like while he's at MIT, he's going to be studying the glider that the Green Goblin brought in.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to lead to his arsenal of weapons and stuff.
He's too big for that thing. We got to
be honest. you are a twisted man. You are a twisted man. Okay.
Maybe you know what? Maybe he can build it for his physically fit friend, and that's going to be the villain.
He's fluffy.
No,
he's fluffy.
I will not. Normally I discriminate against fatties too because I'm fat. I'm a fat. So I can say right. But this is the one time I'm not going to put up with it. We can diss Lizzo, but not Ned.
Yo, Lizzo lost a grip of weight. I don't know if you know that, man. Have you seen the new pictures?
Oh yeah, no, I know.
That Ozempic, baby.
Yeah,
working overtime, man.
Don't get me started. We're not getting on a political rant right now. Medications, but and for Black Cat, they need to bring in the Black Cat because they have not done a movie out of all. They've had like 8 Spider-Man movies, no Black Cat. But there's only 2 people who can possibly play her.
Who's that?
Anna Taylor-Joy or Sydney Sweeney.
That's right.
It's one of these 2 hot blondes.
I'll take either one of them. One of them will be perfect.
And if they mess that up, because you know what, there's a rumor that Daisy Ridley from is not for Black Cat, but they're saying she's up for a role in Spider-Man 4. They better not. If they no, that's all I'm saying. No.
Wait, was this Sweeney person? She was in Madam Web, the greatest movie ever to be filmed.
Yeah.
Oh
no, they're not.
You didn't know that she's one of the hotties.
Yeah, they're not. First of all, they're no.
They're not she's one of the biggest stars right now.
I know
she may have been in that movie, but she's one of the biggest stars right now. Everyone's dying to cast her.
They're like no fat people on gliders and no people that were in bad movies.
no, they do that all the time. They just forget your bad movie. It's just like Chris Evans. Right. They're like forgiven for Human Torch.
Those movies made money, by the way. By the way, those original Fantastic Four movies, they made money. We all make fun of them because they were bad.
I owned them. I owned copies of them.
They made money.
I own a DVD copy of an extended cut of Daredevil.
That's Ben Affleck.
What
did you see? That's the better version. Did you see the
that is
Elektra Much better. Much
So
better.
I am such a comic nerd. I liked all those movies back in the early 2000s, like Ghost Rider, Fantastic Fours, Spider-Man, Daredevil. I would watch whatever.
You know what? You guys just proved me wrong. Made me admit my being wrong. Idris Elba was in Ghost Rider 2, which is a weird zany movie, but he
That was
went
an
on to
odd
go.
movie.
I didn't see 2. I didn't
was a
see
weird
2.
He went on to become a Black Viking. What is this guy?
Heimdall.
Heimdall.
But here's what I'm saying. They reuse their actors all the time, especially when your actor has been in like a shittier movie. So
But you two wouldn't pay money to see the Venom trilogy. Like Venom played out the way it should be, the proper fall of Eddie Brock, the whole thing.
of course I would.
Yeah, I would. That
Yo,
I mean, that 3 movies.
But is
2
that on the
movies-
table though? That's the what is. So here's the question. I thought at least when Eddie Block dropped some of the symbiote in the bar in the end credit scene or whatever, that was going to lead to a Tom Holland symbiote. But everyone is saying that in the 3rd Venom, they reclaim that symbiote.
No, I saw the movie. It's in a different reality. It's not just. It's not 616. And
I'm confused. I'm confused as to what is what.
Let me unconfuse it for you because you're a numbers guy, right? That movie bombed. It ended the universe. Craven killed it. Whatever they decide to do doesn't have to reference that, but most certainly there are 2 parallel universes running towards each other, right? Running alongside each other. In 616 film universe, that symbiote was on the bar. In Sony's universe, that symbiote was on the bar, but in Sony's universe, that's when the black guy showed up and claimed
Okay.
it.
Who
Yeah.
also plays who plays 2 characters, right? So he plays a Sony.
Don't get me started. They completely wasted the storyline. That character in the comic books, King in Black, is one of the most tragic characters. You find out that he's a symbiote that honored his original host by taking on his form after that guy died.
Damn,
Like,
bro.
and they were just like, nope.
Wow.
Screw that. They do that a lot of times. Just the person is them just by name or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying. I'm fine with them doing a symbiote as long as like.
Yo, so Mantis, I don't know if you know the story or whatever. We could get the quick backstory. But yo, Steve, what did you think of how the symbiotes were in the game in Spider-Man? What you think
They
about it?
were perfect, my brother. They were absolutely perfect.
So yo, Mantis. So they switched it up. So it's not Eddie Brock in the game. It's Harry Osborn, right? So
Okay, so that's from Ultimate, right? Did they make it a cure for cancer?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, that was in Ultimate Comics that they did that thing.
Yeah, so yeah, he was sick. The meteorite comes down. He ends up getting it. It cures him. It jumps to Peter. It goes
Do
back.
you think
to
that's
Harry.
going to be do you think that's going to be the new definitive Venom story? Do you think they're going to do that in the cartoon?
If they do it how they did it in the game, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it, 'cause
it
it
was
was
dark
perfect.
and brutal.
It was perfect, yo. It was horror movie-esque the way they did it. And then
Despite ugly Mary Jane,
It's an
I'm
amazing.
going to force myself to play this game.
yeah, yo, it was done well, man.
Even Craven's good in the game.
he was.
Wait, hold on. Craven is actually a great character in the comic books.
Yeah,
I just don't know what was on that screen. Like what they,
nobody.
where
does.
he's Lion Man or something, right? He's
Nobody
Lion Man.
does.
Yeah.
You know what though, Shaolin? What did you think? So, just a little spoiler for the game. You know how Mary Jane and Peter have always almost had this amazing relationship. Every once in a while, you get a hint that there was trouble in like their town. I love that there's a scene in the game where she gets imbued with a symbiote, and the symbiote makes her say what she thinks about little everyday situations.
Wait, who? Mary Jane?
Yeah,
With Peter, and it
becomes the Scream. What's
Yeah,
the one with the
Screech.
red hair? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh wow.
It's actually really. I tried to tell you before, man. The games have probably the one besides this animated show, the best representation of Spider-Man that exists. Man, it's really good stuff.
Yeah, she was harsh as hell, man. I felt bad. I'm like, damn, how you gotta be that rude? God,
Yeah. I would be like, I'm not taking any guff from some ugly chick.
Yeah, I would have broke up with her after that. I don't care if it was a symbiote talking. I'm done with you. You can't take back those words. That was too harsh.
It's like I'm so used to Harry becoming Green Goblin 2. However, it's kind of cool that like he becomes a villain and he doesn't have to be like the carbon copy of his father.
Yeah,
And
Right?
that's
He can be a different type of villain.
And that's only because they were limited back in the day. Because just think about when he does become Green Goblin, that was kind of groundbreaking stuff for that type of storytelling in that period of comics, right? But we've advanced and we all can take a good look at Green Goblin and go, two things are never supposed to happen here. That suit and Fat Ned flying around on the
So I'm an unapologetic comic book dude. So I love cheesy costumes and themes and gimmicks for characters, right?
Yeah, no, it's cool. The little pointy shoes, the hat.
You had pointy shoes. Isn't that insane?
You guys remember Demon Goblin? That's how far they took that story.
Yes, there was every type of goblin, man. And so they eventually do. Is it the Scarlet Goblin? And he's part Carnage symbiote and a Green Goblin ripoff character. And so they have Demon Goblin and Hobgoblin and all the Green Goblin. It's like, oh my god!
The greatest thing that's happened to the Spider-Man franchise is the debacles in live action Sony over there. I used to think that they were in cahoots with DC to take the MCU down, but now I realize that I was completely giving too much credit to the crackheads who write the stories over there, because I just rewatched Carnage, the Venom Carnage movie with my son the other day. My son is on the spectrum, so he has an excuse to watch that movie and enjoy it.
Right.
That movie is bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, this is like bad. I watched it again. Whoa.
One thing, I don't pride myself on a lot of things, but one thing I am immensely proud of is I have not seen one Sony Spider-Man villain movie, not a single one of them. And I am so happy that I did not ever subject myself to any of that. Okay. I'm just saying.
You're a smart man.
I had to see Madam Web. No. I streamed it at least, but yes, I had to do it.
Had to do one. Can't do it.
You had to do that, but you're fighting against seeing Agatha.
He
got you there. He got you there.
No, he didn't. Here's what it is. Because I had to see the train wreck that is Madam Web.
Okay.
Because everyone was saying it was the worst movie ever, and so I had to see it. And it is the worst movie ever.
Yeah,
it is the worst movie ever.
It's pretty bad.
But I'm saying Agatha just looks like a mediocre time.
When you gonna let go of your bias of gay witches doing amazing things, man?
I like the Acolyte. I'll say it with my chest. I like the Acolyte.
Good show. So let's just wrap up on Spider-Man, because I know you guys want to talk about some more perverted stuff going on at Amazon. What do you rate it? What are you giving Spider-Man on a 1 to 10?
9.
I would agree. It is almost perfect. It's crazy.
And you know what it is? I love it. I love it when I watch a show and I can't wait till the next episode. And that's what would happen when an episode would drop. Because I watched it as they were dropping. I was like, oh, I can't wait for next week.
Right.
And that's a great feeling. That is a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. I dig that, man.
What about you, Steve?
I haven't finished it yet, but based on what I've seen so far, it's literally perfect. It's literally perfect at this point. I'll see how it closes out, but I've really been enjoying it.
Lainey refuses to watch Agatha as well.
No, she's talking about Madam Web.
Oh, well then, whatever, yo. You are missing out.
It's a movement. Did you know how many TikTok videos came out after that thing came? It's killing it, man. Women with candles singing that song. What are you talking? You used to prowl the street looking for defenseless Wiccans.
So, Agatha is one of the mistakes. It's part of the problem of the MCU.
Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
And so here's what it is. If they had focused all their attention on A-list heroes getting properties and maybe B-list characters getting shows, we wouldn't have all this stuff. The money that went to Agatha should have either gone to Scarlet Witch season 2 or some other character. We are sitting here waiting for countless characters to finish their stories, which we're never going to see. We might. The MCU could end before we finish some of these storylines because they're busy making Agatha and blah 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 and blah, and they're just doing all these side characters. Miss Marvel. No one wants to see Miss Marvel. We see it because you give it to us, but we would prefer that money to be spent on something else.
Yeah,
like they should have given us Avengers 5 like years ago.
Bro, have you guys ready to reconsider Shang-Chi? I watched it again. It is still a great movie. I know it's not kung fu.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
It's a great movie, man.
I really like it.
There you go. See, that didn't hurt too much. All right.
But that's another thing that I think a lot of people hate on me for. I hate, and I know Black Panther had this too, but I hate overgrown CGI battles at the end. And Shang-Chi is very responsible for that. Like spirits flying around and all this stuff.
But there is a scene in Shang-Chi at the end. What is that big evil dragon called? The Phantom in the Mist?
Fing Foom?
No, not Fing Foom. The one that's actually in the movie. It's like
the Dweller in Darkness.
Yeah, the Dweller in Darkness in Shang-Chi. There's a scene where, remember when it's like getting drowned by the happy dragon and it gets the souls and it bursts out? I was like, that was pretty impressive. Good shot. My kids are watching this thing about to eat another dragon. They're like, what's happening right now?
But I will tell you this: as a hero, I will say I love Shang-Chi, and I want to see him in the Avengers.
So that's a perfect pivot because you two are the biggest critics I know when it comes to choreography, fighting, what's accurate. Shang-Chi had some less than accurate and some accurate fight scenes in it, but you both had the same critique about our next topic. The name of the show is Invincible, not invisible, Invincible. And you both made and had jokes on this man, Mark, for getting handled multiple times.
Mark said, F that. I'm done with that.
Well, actually, did you see the latest episode?
Yes.
No, go for it.
He got handled again. Actually, he got handled by a dragon. That's so funny. Yeah, that's why that's the perfect transition.
Wait, is it the T-Rex character?
No, it's an Asian dude who can turn himself into a giant dragon, a Chinese dragon.
Like the gangster Asian dude, like he's Titan's boss or whatever.
And he ends up getting his ass kicked. I was like, oh, I missed this side of Invincible, getting his ass kicked.
So, when the season started, I mean, Mark smoked for days Grayson because he was coming after everybody neck when the show started. Power level was 170%, higher than it was before.
He starts the season Dragon Balling it, as I call it.
Yeah,
when a superhero is like, because it's funny that actually American comics don't actually show that. They should show Superman pumping like a moon. Yeah. Right? He should go to a moon, start pumping it, and so I love that they were inventing new ways to increase his weight, and it's out of Dragon Ball, right? They were adding gravity to the weight, and so that was cool though. That was really cool. Yeah. And so it starts with on at a 100, like it's going 100 miles off the bat.
Yeah. He
immediately gets into beef with Cecil.
Yeah.
This is essentially creating like the civil war in the superheroes, right? Now we all know Cecil is a analogy for Nick Fury and Amanda Waller and all these types of guys. What do you guys think of this dude?
I mess with him, and he actually does have a good point. I don't see where he's wrong in any aspect. I do think the planting a sonic device in his ear, that probably was a little out there, but I get why he did it.
Yeah.
And
yes,
he ended up being right to do it at the end of the day.
Here's what I'm saying: if I had the chance to put a sonic device in the ear of the guy that powerful, and I didn't, I would then check myself into a mental institution because that it is absolute. I've argued about this on Twitter. It is absolutely the right thing to do to have a fail safe like that.
It was.
I think Cecil was more of a parody of Bruce Wayne. To be honest with you,
he's got a little Bruce Wayne in him. Yeah, I feel that.
Bruce Wayne has to reckon and deal with the fact that, and I think this is a credit to that Batman versus Superman movie, but at one point they hint at it. Bruce Wayne wants to preserve humanity. That's at the root of a lot of the stuff he does. And it's like you got literal gods running around, and I have the ability to keep these people in check because I have a godlike power called forethought. I think Cecil. Even though I wish I didn't know how this all ended, but he is that character that you need when you have these type of powerful beings running around. I think he's a whole character, man.
Yo, you are absolutely if this was real stuff, I would definitely want him doing his job in real life. 100% I would. You know what I mean?
Which is why I'm so pissed that I'm going to call them Team Teen again, because that's basically who they are. They're not the Guardians of the Globe. They're bitches. Right. Okay. And so I cannot believe they turned on Cecil and they left him. That was like,
I think it was the visceralness of what was going on with Mark. Cause he flies over there to get Robot to take the thing out, and Cecil shows up and they have this clash, and then all they see is, Invincible suffering or whatever, and it's this whole thing. So it might have just been a heat of the moment thing. I kind of understand a little bit. I kind of get both sides somewhat, but you're gonna have to argue big time to make me disagree with Cecil. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to.
I agree. I think he seems to always be right, and he does he makes the hard choices that people are just scared to make.
Yeah.
Right. And he's willing to clone his best friend and bring him back, just like Nick Fury. And don't complain about me doing it.
and another thing that I think what really endeared me to him was his backstory, Cecil's backstory. When we see how he got disfigured,
love that episode. That's an amazing episode.
He went so hard to keep that gas from leaking because he didn't want people to die from it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it shows you that in his heart, he's a legitimately good dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
He wants to save people.
Yep.
So I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the crazy part about it too is, man, if you think about it, what Omni-Man did on the show doesn't even compare to how brutal it was when they found them dead in the comics. There was no fight scene they showed in the comics, if I remember correctly.
Right, they just find their corpses.
Bodies. You know what I'm saying? And we got the show showing us how powerful Viltrumites are. Of course, I'm gonna put a Sonic. I'm gonna have a fail safe, man. Yeah. Of course, if there were people like Wonder Woman running around, I gotta know. Look, I love that Cecil's so gangster that he banished a demon back to hell. Right. He's who you want on humanity's side.
Figured out sorcery just to get rid of that dude.
He sold just to make the right move. I love it.
Right. I think my biggest pro of this season is they listened from last year, and they're like, yo, we're just giving it to you. We're not playing around with you no more. You know, the whole thing with Adam Eve, they're like, yo, we're not going to insult your intelligence. We all know they're supposed to be together. We're going to put them together. We're going to move on. You know what I mean? They're just the whole thing with Oliver, they're not playing with it. They're just giving it to us straight up. You know what I mean?
Yo, my favorite character's dead. The Mauler brothers dead.
He brutally killed them.
I was really upset. I was like, yo, when one of them mouths off, the one's dead and the other one mouths off to Oliver, I was like, just get the fuck out so you can clone yourself again. Keep going, man. Why did he speak up? If he didn't say anything, he could have.
You knew what was coming. Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Did you read the comics, Mantis?
So I didn't. Here's what it is. I started the comics, didn't go all the distance, but then I just read the wikis on them. And
never mind. I won't give you any spoilers, then, man.
Yeah. I already know a lot of spoilers about it, but So another thing I want to point out, which is not in the comic books, so Rexplode is clearly making moves on Shrinking Ray. What do you guys think?
I like it, man. I feel like he's he's coming around. He's less of a delinquent, you know what I mean?
He seems he's that dude in the friend group who bangs all the girls.
Right.
He just takes turns with each one of them.
Right.
He was with Adam Eve, he was with Duplicate, and now he's with now he's making moves toward Shrinking Ray.
But maybe it's the optimist in me, you know what I mean? But it just seems like he's trying to not be such a delinquent anymore. And Shrinking Ray seems like the type that would help him make that proper switch over. Help him grow up,
That's another thing why he's such a traitor and an ass. That's another thing I forgot. Cecil regrew his hand.
Yeah.
He had lost his hand in the fighting the Lizard League. He gave him back his hand. And how does he repay him? By betraying him. Turning on him.
Turns on him.
Can I ask a quick question? Have they started to hint towards the relationship between Monster Girl and Robot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. And I mean, obviously, Robot, and I don't know the full extent of this, but Robot is clearly evil. And
something's up with him.
And
oh, neither of you read the comics.
No, I haven't read them. No.
yeah, but and so so Steve, are you watching any of these episodes?
No, I'm gonna binge them. You're not spoiling anything for me.
Okay, right. So there's an episode ends where a drone is watching him. Invincible grabs it and it blows up in his face. And so then when he brings it to a robot, he's like, "Robot, what can you tell me about it?" And he scans it. He's like, "It's advanced technology. Other than that, I can't tell you anything." And I was like, "It's this drone. There's no way the smartest engineer ever." Here's what it is: a robot knows everything. If you show him anything, he'll know a million things about it.
Right.
This is the one thing he doesn't know anything about. I think it's clearly he was spying on Invincible. What his end game is, I don't know, but
bro,
he's a sinister little dude.
He is.
Let me put it to you this way: you guys hit the nail on the head in regards to comparing it to anime. Man, all of these characters you're talking about, there is not one character towards the end when it finally ends that you don't go, God damn, I saw that coming and it was still amazing.
Okay.
Right. Honestly, man, like Invincible is one of those things where it's just like, I'm like, it shouldn't be good, but it is. It is superhero tropes nonstop, but it
nonstop.
is
Like, for instance, in the episode that literally just aired, it's finishing up or going back to the plot of the gangs and how Titan took over the gangs from Machine Head. And then the Asian gang, wants something from him. And, the leader of the Asian gang, he can send his soul out and it's a giant dragon and it messes him up. And at the heart, the entire episode is just like superheroes fighting mafia guys, blah, 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 a prison break story.
Yeah.
It was still amazing, though. It was like,
which episode was it? 3? The one when the dudes come back through time to get Invincible's help. Was that episode 3?
Yes. What is it? Fight Master and Dropkick?
And Dropkick, yeah. And they take him to help deal with the Immortal. He's crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
He straight up Sub-Zeros him. He just rips his head off or whatever. I love that, man, because it's so. You always have this trope where I don't want to kill. Nah, I'm a Sub-Zero this dude, not just ripped his spine out of his body.
But he did do the trope for a while. He was saying, I can't kill you. And I was thinking, he's already insane. And he wants you to kill him. Just kill him already. Invincible's acting like he hasn't murdered 50,000 people already, right?
But the end of it, when we get the Viltrumite prison breakout with Alan and Omni-Man. Yeah. My favorite part of that whole thing was Battle Beast, Battle Beast, dude. Well, I can't remember the line he had, but it was after he was fighting the Viltrumite, and it was something like, I'm gonna kill you, and Battle Beast was like, you promise? Like he got aroused by the idea, like the dude was trying to kill him. I'm like, this dude, I was ready for the smoke.
Battle Beast is strictly for Thundercat fans. He is that character that they made for all you guys that love animal characters. If you like Killer Instinct, they made Battle Beast for you.
Right.
If you like comics about manga-sized werewolves ripping people apart, but bro, he is OG legit. And as the story progresses, there's not a point where he's not on the panel. I'm like, I love this dude.
I love this dude too, and I hope I'm assuming that from your reaction, that was not the last we've seen of him, because the episode ends where he's biting the head off of a Viltrumite while he tumbles through space. It's brilliant. But I do love that during the prison break they're just fighting soldiers, and then he turns on Alan because he's like, "You promised me that I could fight Viltrumites." He's like, "Yo, chill. They're in the next room."
Right. He even asked him how many. He was like, "How many?" He's like, 2, 3. He's like, "Okay, let's go." Like, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Have they introduced a character yet that looks like Freddie Mercury from Queen?
I mean, don't all Viltrumites look like that? They're all they all look like they're 70s orgy guys.
But have they shown the king of the Viltrumites yet, Thrag?
No, they have not.
So we've learned that there's what was it, less than 50
of
them left or something
purebreds.
Yeah. So
man, Thrag is the man. That his porn stash puts Omni-Man's to shame, bro.
I think it's funny that they all wear the stash. They
all look like cops. They all look like off-duty cops. Even the women, they all look like cops to me. So I want to quiz you guys on something. Did you know that two people we talked about tonight had an epic crossover, and only one person I know that does commentary on comics has ever brought it up, but there was in fact a Invincible Spider-Man crossover.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious, and it was actually really, really good because again, you see Spider-Man right-sized against someone who was clearly like
they be bros. They be bros, yo.
Yeah, and that was the dynamic and the chemistry between them was amazing, and I'm like, oh man, why does Image own the rights to Invincible?
Well, remember, Image is it's creator owned, so really it's the Walking Dead dude who owns them. He'll forever own that.
Selfish.
No, Image comics are the best comics. Right now in this stage of my life, for the last decade, all the best comics have been Image comics, not Marvel comics, not DC comics. Image comics produces the best shit.
Image for the win.
It's not the bite off. I remember in the origins of back in the 90s, it was totally made up of bites of Marvel and DC characters.
But it had hints of clever. Obviously they had Supreme, they had Pitt, which was I don't feel like was a ripoff of any Marvel character. They had Spawn. It's good stuff, man. I can't wait to watch the show, man. I can't wait for you guys to get where the journey's going on this, though, man. I'm literally stopping myself from. Do you want it to be spoiled?
Well, and also in the future,
I know it's getting good.
In the future episode, he points out, Immortal points out that he is the Emperor, right? And so I assume his future self will be the Emperor of the galaxy. But will he be a good emperor or a bad emperor? Right?
Yeah. No.
Oh. That's code for the Immortal is a jobber. That's what that means. I can already tell. He's just there to get beat up.
Yo, you know what I love about him though, man? I love his backstory. The fact that he's been around since like caveman days, stumbled upon.
Oh, and it was Abraham Lincoln. I like that.
Yeah.
You want to hear about the Twitter fights? I got into a Twitter fight with a dude who's I don't know if they say this just to start fights or whatever. They're saying that the Immortal is a pervert because Duplicate is so young.
Well, that means he's a pervert with any person he has it.
And I said that I was like thousands of years old. There are no women his age.
What do you want the man to do? I don't understand. Like he's one of them, yeah.
And so his point is that she's only a few years out of teen team, so she's early 20s, which I think is fine. I'm going to get canceled tomorrow. People are going to be like, man just thinks that a 4,000-year-old man can get with a 20-year-old.
And those people probably love what was that movie? The glittery vampire.
Twilight.
They're probably fans of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So whatever.
All type of pederasty going on in that situation.
And then she was in high school. She wasn't a few years out of high school. She was
in high school,
bro. That's weird. Why are the vampires hanging out in high school?
Hey Drake.
Yeah. Hey Drake.
Hey,
they didn't really explain it. Like they didn't have to be in high school. It wasn't even like they were keeping up because all the Native Americans knew they were vampires. Like everyone in the town knew they were vampires except for the white people. And like there was no reason for them to be there, to be honest with you. They just like chilling in high school.
Yeah, there's no reason to be in high school. It's just so bizarre.
I mean, it's the same thing with Angel from Buffy, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So I've fairly recently, probably a couple months ago, rewatched the first couple episodes of Buffy, and the reason Angel was doing that is because the harvest was coming in Hellmouth, and he was purposely planted himself to meet the Slayer so they could combat that together. And so he was on a mission.
Right.
He wasn't just banging high school.
So let me see if I got this straight. He did reconnaissance of the high school area to make sure that the high school young lady who happened to be the Slayer was going to be there when he showed up.
Exactly. If banging happened, it was just incidental.
Anyway, so what are you guys rating Invincible thus far?
I put it right up where Spider-Man is. Honestly, it's right up there.
Right. If we're talking about this season, I'll put like a 9.7, 9.8 or something. Right.
It's way better than season 2.
Season 2, was beating around the bush. It was taking forever. That brain dude, but like he didn't do anything till the final episode, right? And so there was a lot of kind of wasting time. This one is not wasting time at all.
Yeah,
Langston Levy is a gangster, man. That sounds like a name for a Jamaican dub band that never made it. Bitter Langston Levy, they're just bitter musicians. So it's right up there. But let me ask you this question, both of you guys. So we've had our critiques about The Boys. Boys is coming to the end. Do you think Invincible will be able to carry that slot on Amazon without The Boys being there? Like, is it going to continue to pull that audience over?
So here's the thing. In terms of ratings, cartoons just never do it. And so Invincible is popular. It's not nearly as popular as The Boys. It's just people will always go to live action like that.
Yeah.
I will obviously I'll love it. I'll personally love it, but there are people who are just bigoted. They think they're better than cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it because Invincible doesn't deal with climbing inside the urethra of grown men and exploding? Because I think there's a demographic that watches The Boys.
No, actually, you know what I think? I think somebody should re-edit The Boys to take out, not to completely take out the perverted things, but to not have to show us the perverted. Like they can have someone's dick get blown off without showing a dick getting blown off.
Because I remember, Mantis, you were struggling with this last season. I remember talking about that. You were like, "Yo, this is starting to get a little too much." Web
all these dicks on the screen. There were all these dicks on the screen.
Yeah.
They got superheroes climbing into people's dicks for whatever reason.
That scene with Homegirl in the leather suit and she's got Huey. That is just like
that episode. Yeah, that episode really broke me.
That was disgusting. That was wrong.
It was so unnecessary, and it could all be implied. They could all imply it. They don't actually have to show it.
Yeah, even thinking about it, like I feel a little
scratchy
something back here. Yeah, it was a little much. It was a little much, man.
I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is with The Boys is actually a comic book that I did read from cover to cover, and so I still love the show. They are very much deviating from the end of the comic.
Yeah, I mean the comic is just I never read it.
At times really bad.
It's also just the depraved rantings of a depraved mind at certain points. It's like, okay, bro. See, I can't leave my family around you for like even a second.
Although I will tell you from last season of The Boys, I still occasionally put on that song, "See Something, Say Something." It's like when you see something, say something, report that groomer when he comes for you. but it's telling you to report on all these people, and it's like they're telling you to report on your teacher and like you turn in your parents and stuff. Like it's
brilliant.
So funny.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because they were leaning into some other political connotations. You know what I will always stand out for me, even though it's not the way it ended in the comics. When what's this guy's name? Fake Batman in their universe. What's this guy's name? Noir. Yeah, when Noir goes to that happy place, man, and he's eating beans with the characters and they're singing and they're talking to him, I was like, oh, this is heartbreaking.
It's totally heartbreaking because he's clearly in the mind of a child.
Yeah, and they're crying when he dies. I'm like, what am I watching right now? What am I watching? I haven't been that impacted by something since watching Suicide Squad 2 and the big starfish died. And he's like, I was alone in the universe. I'm like, bro.
That was such a crazy end to that. I was like,
James,
it was like this beautiful cosmic creature that just wanted to be left alone.
That whole movie, yo, it has aged so well. This Subversion was the name of the game. The opening of the movie when the lineup changed, they all got slaughtered at the beginning. Yo, it's so
amazing.
Good.
I have to say, I think it's one of Harlequin's best appearances I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I really, really love it. It's a great, and look at me, I'm so critical of Gunn Superman. Like I'm worried it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
And yet I love, because here's what it is. It's because he does things like Guardians and Suicide Squad so well that I'm skeptical that he can do Boy Scout.
I got you. But that's kind of why I gave him credit. I'm like, yo, so far, I mean, Peacemaker, it sort of rehashed the plot of Suicide Squad.
I thought that was weird that more aliens controlling minds, right?
Yeah. But it was still enjoyable. I was entertained, you know.
One of the things that messed me up the most in Suicide Squad 2 was when Peacemaker and what's his face are having that fight, and finally he stabs him, and he looks at him and he goes, "Peacemaker, what a load of shit," and then he falls down dead, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Man. I can tell you honestly, that was probably the best movie I've ever seen Idris Elba in. Like outside of The Wire, Idris Elba has followed a path very similar to some of my other favorite black actors, where he's just has not picked the right roles. But he was actually really good.
He was good. Yeah.
So if I had a time machine, I'd go back 15 years, cast Idris Elba as Batman.
Oh Lord.
He would be the perfect Bruce Wayne and the perfect Batman.
Hey, I'm not going to disagree with you, but are
you up to your liberal bullshit again? I cursed on air. I didn't want to do that.
Well, why? Do you think that Batman being white is an important part of his character?
Listen to me, you psycho, and let me correct you on this again. Right? It's not that him being white is an important part of his character. Why would him being black be important to happen?
It's not about him being black. It's Idris Elba would play an amazing Batman.
Do
you disagree with that?
No, I don't think he would be a great Batman, because here's the thing, man.
He'd be a great Batman.
He's literally grown up with the conception of Batman as he is. If we want to take a side character and start messing with stuff, that's fine. But come on, bro.
You're like one of those people who are like, Jesus was white.
No.
Just because we were told he was white, right?
No,
you saw these white pictures of him.
No, you grew up Catholic. I've always known that the only reason a white person would have got crucified in that time was because they were white. Of course, I would crucify him too. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with that albino? Like, get him out of here. He's got
Idris Elba, in terms of like his acting and his attitude, he would be a great Batman.
Yeah. Just like Black Superman, all that stuff. Listen, I'm not the guy to scream woke, but it's that type of stuff that really ruins stuff, man. Why?
Norman Osborn, because of his waves, can be black.
No,
Bruce Wayne can.
Norman Osborn is not a central character, and no matter how they've tried to make it in the comics, but now I believe that he's important because they did something that made me go, "Oh, I care about this guy." But you want to take a Hallmark character, right? Especially given your political views. So I got to sit up here with you defending this when these people start coming for us.
So here, Idris Elba plays a dashing.
He could be James Bond.
He could play a James Bond and therefore play a Bruce Wayne because they're the same type.
Here's something even
better.
Also,
when Idris Elba is being like an intimidating son of a bitch, that's Batman right there.
Yo, I got something that's gonna blow your mind. Did you know in comics that there is a multi-level trillionaire who's as intelligent as Bruce Wayne and has just as much swag, and he's black, and Idris Elba should play that guy? Do you know who that is?
Someone who doesn't have a movie franchise, I'm assuming.
T'Challa. Whoa, what a capital idea.
No. Their attitudes are different. T'Challa isn't Black Batman. What are you talking about?
Bro, Idris Elba is a great actor, right? We're talking about range, correct?
No, but T'Challa...
you think a black man can have enough range to play another character? Is that what you're insinuating? He has to be locked into playing pecan Bruce Wayne?
I don't even know what that means. T'Challa has a bright heart and is an optimistic person, not like Bruce Wayne.
Bro, what Black Panther comics have you been reading? T'Challa is quite possibly one of the most devious people in the.
He's not. I'm saying his outward appearance is not as dark as Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne is a brooding prick.
What are you talking about? He's not as dark. He's from Africa. He's darker than Bruce Wayne. You're not making any sense.
And there you have it, folks. That's Fanboy Modeling School for you with our buddy Shaolin coming in.
Bo DeMaio play Cyclops, right? You're on that tip too. You sick bastard.
To me, my niggas.
Yo, Shaolin Iceboxer. Before we wrap, did you have any final thoughts about comic books, the world, or pretty much anything, man?
Look, all I'm gonna say is we eating good right now.
That's right.
Marvel Animation, they're creating their own universe right now. Like now the Watcher was in Spider-Man in the Sky. Like they're connecting all this stuff together. So they need to keep going with this because this has a lot of potential.
A rumor of Jeffrey Wright actually playing his Watcher in Fantastic Four is floating around.
Ooh, come on now.
Amazing.
Bring it all together.
Yeah. That would be utterly amazing. And then also, we're not just eating good. We are eating good in that sense, but we're also Severance is back.
Hey.
I love this show Saint Dennis, this comedy. There's a bunch of good television is back.
Yeah.
Do you guys
finally
think new golden age comic book movie level? So we got Fantastic Four and Superman. These are going to be two family friendly movies coming out that should re-gear both franchises. That's what they are. That's what they're being billed as and being promoted.
I think we were hitting the slope, but I think we're climbing back up now. You know what I mean? That's the feeling I'm getting. I just
really hope the MCU is able to readjust. They need to hire Bo Mayo. Bo DeMayo. What? You got something to say? Why? Because he's black? Because he's black, Steve?
My brother. They are not bringing that man within any arm's reach of any interns. He's out.
Basically, they make him work remote where he can't touch or text any interns. I mean, come on, this is too much. Are you telling me that every man who sends dick pics to an intern can't work anymore? Like, what is wrong with this world?
So here at Fanboy Modeling School, the opinions expressed by Mantis towards the end of the show are his own and only his own. Dick pics,
ridiculous, man. I thought we were making America great again.
I'm out.
Exactly.
Fat Mantis signing off. Steve, any final words?
Folks, make sure you tune in to Mic Check Sundays and Tuesdays over on RizRadio.com. In fact, if you look over in the chat right now, there's a link that takes you directly to RizRadio.com. You can click on there, get tapped in, check out the articles, help us get up in the algorithm. I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. And this is Fat Mantis signing off. Ciao for now, bitches.